Okay, here we go.
That, by the way, Susie.
What's that?
Troy had that.
I had what?
What you
What I
had.
have? It's freaking miserable.
Yeah, you were good. And you had it for 5 full days with them.
Well, my daughter's had it now for 3 weeks.
Well, mine's not contagious, so it's really just a sinus infection.
Okay, don't go too far. Make sure we get all of her. Oh, look at that. Nice and close up. No, no. Oh, I see what you're saying.
I did the first one. I did red black. Holly and Kelly Carter did last week.
Cool.
It's Monday, sweetheart.
Every Monday.
We're actually moving on.
Yeah.
Is it recording? Are we good? Okay. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to Distinction Mondays. How many of you are Part 1 grads? And how many of you are ML grads? It's really great to have you here to take yourself on to. Well, you're not sure if you're a grad? You're halfway because you're still in ML.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's really great that you're here. So let's find out a little bit about who is here. Why don't we stand up and say your name and your ML or your GT1 Part 1 that you did? Thank you.
Christine Johnson, ML10 Fort Lauderdale.
Great. Thank you. Welcome.
Sandra Ramirez, ML7 Fort Lauderdale.
Millie User, ML32.
Pasha Sky, ML11 Fort Lauderdale.
Woo-hoo!
Chris Austin, ML1.
Legacy.
Every time she says that, that number just sounds constant.
ML12 Fort Lauderdale. So you're currently still. Did you have your first weekend just recently? Awesome. And I missed it. I'm almost in every one of the first weekends, and I missed yours because I was in the Part 1.
We had fun.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did. Well, for those of you who don't know me, I believe I know everybody. My name is Sandi King, and I did my trainings about 4 years ago. I completed Trainer Forum, which is a 6-month program where you go and dive deep into the distinctions and you learn how to articulate and land distinctions and work with people about all of the different things that we teach in the trainings. I also did a 1-year internship with Master Trainers Ray Blanchard and Betty Spiro, where I got to shadow them. And I'm currently finishing the Gratitude Trainer Development Program, where I am going to be a first weekend trainer and a Part 1 trainer. So 4 years, yay, of really hard work and dedication. This is my purpose, my passion. I am lit up about it. There's no place I'd rather be. And I am just thrilled to be able to stand here in front of you guys and work with you. And I'm committed to creating value for you tonight. Does that sound good, everybody?
Yes.
All right, great. So Distinction Mondays. What we're doing here now is the trainer interns are on a rotation schedule where we're taking all of the different distinctions from Part 1 and we're teaching them to the grads or to anyone who has finished Part 1. Okay, so we're relanding them. So it's a win-win situation. It's creating value for the community, and it's also giving us practice in delivering these exercises. So tonight is Victim Accountable. Who remembers Victim Accountable? You do? I'm never a victim, he says. Do you remember from your Part 1? You did Part 1, but you audited our Part 1, right?
No, he did Part 1.
I did Part 1.
But aren't you a grad from another center?
No, I'm Landmark.
Oh.
I used to work for them.
Okay, great. Because I remember having a conversation with you, and I knew that there was another center somehow involved.
Yes.
Okay, well, great. Well, tonight is about victim accountable. So what is a victim? What is a victim? Somebody that lets their stories run them? Okay, so pre-gratitude, like in the drift, when we say, what is a victim? What is a victim? A crybaby. Something happened to me. I'm innocent, like it just all happened to me. Not my fault. Somebody else is at fault for what's happening to me, right? So can we say victim? Let's put it like this. Victim is they did it to me. They did it to Me. Like I'm the screwy, right? Like I'm the one who got screwed, right? I'm the screwy. So who has a good victim story? Who has a good victim story? Something that happened to you in your life where you really felt victimized.
Mary, ML32, my mother was on hospice, and my grandmother was her caretaker, and my grandmother died. And my mother had never raised me. My grandmother raised me, so then I was the caretaker for my mother who didn't care for me as a child. That's not my victim story, though. My victim story is my mother was a hoarder, and she asked me to clean out her house because she didn't want to lose any of her things. And I went and cleaned out her house, and in the meantime of cleaning out her house, I had taken my grandmother's jewelry and locked it in a room, and someone unlocked the door and basically bought all my grandma's jewelry for $5. So I was my victim.
So how many people can see how she felt like a victim in that scenario? Okay, it was a true story. Something happened to you, and you felt how?
I definitely felt violated, and I felt powerless, and I felt trapped. Like I couldn't. I completely out of control. It was completely out of my control.
Okay, so out of control, powerless, trapped, victimized. Great, thank you for sharing. Let's give her a hand. Who else has a victim story? Something that happened to them. Tell us what happened, how it happened, and what was the impact of it. Come on, we've all got victim stories. Yes.
So we recently opened and closed a restaurant, and the restaurant had, about 5 years ago, there was a fire in the building that we rented the space in, and instead of gutting all the plumbing, what they did was leave all that old nasty plumbing there, put a false wall, put new plumbing, and put a new interior wall. So we had sewage gas just leaking into the wall space, into the ceiling space of our restaurant. So as soon as we opened our restaurant, turned on the hood, we started sucking that sewage gas into our restaurant, and we became known as the restaurant that smells like shit, literally.
Oh.
And the landlord knew. Like, there's no way he didn't know, and we found out the landlord knew because we found documents on the computers of the previous renter complaining about the smell, documenting it all. Plumbers talked to us about, oh yeah, this has been going on. The inspectors had already talked about this has been going on all along. So we were a victim of fraud. And basically our cost was we lost our restaurant.
And so how did that make you feel? What was the impact on you personally?
Pretty stupid for not doing more research, just kind of having blind faith in the whole process. Pretty helpless.
Helpless, stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, victimized. How many of you can see that she felt like a victim in that situation? Let's give her a hand.
No.
Okay, one more victim story. Make it a good one. Who's got one? What happened? How did it happen? And what was the impact of it?
Wow, 5.
Okay, well, let's stick with one.
I thought I was 5.
Okay, you were 5. All
Yes.
right. Okay, I thought you said you had 5 stories.
No,
At the
I
age
was
of 5.
At the age of 5,
Perfect.
okay, I decided that I could drive one of my grandfather's farm tractors.
Okay.
Okay, and I was going to help the people that work for him clean out horse stalls on his ranch. So I jumped on the tractor, I figured out how to start it and everything, and the guys that work for him said, no, and I said, it's my grandfather's tractor, I can do this. And so I took the tractor and I went to work with them, and I was running the tractor in the stalls, and they were filling the bucket up with stuff, and I would take it out to the manure pile.
At the age of 5.
I was 5.
Okay.
Hey, everything's going really good until my grandma comes riding up on the horse alongside me and goes, what the hell do you think you're doing? I'm driving the tractor. I was doing good too. You get that tractor back where it comes from right now, and I'm telling your grandfather. And I took the thing back, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? We're doing good. I did nothing, doing fine. So, okay. So I took the tractor back, and about a half hour later, my grandfather comes screaming up in his truck. Jumps out of the truck, grabs me by one arm, throws me in the front seat, across the front seat, and he takes off. He goes to the end of the barn. He opens up one of the stalls. He throws me in the stall. He takes an 8-foot buggy whip, and he takes me with one hand, and we started going around the stall with the 8-foot buggy whip. kind of get the idea from there what happened, that, what happened. And I definitely came away with that. I didn't deserve it. I didn't do anything wrong. And it had a big impact on me for a long time.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. How many of you can see he felt like a victim in this scenario? Great. Let's give him a hand. Okay. All right, great. So here's what we're going to do. Every one of you is going to be telling a victim story. And here's the criteria. It must be a true story. It has to be something that happened to you, so not about anybody else. It has to happen to you. And it's a true story. Okay? What you're going to do is you're going to find a partner, somebody you haven't worked with before, and we're going to form a dyad. Who remembers what a dyad is? Okay, as a little refresher, you're going to face your chairs facing each other in close proximity. You're going to be open body, and you're going to have eye contact. So why don't you guys go ahead and do that now? Do we have an even number of people in the room? Susie, maybe you could support?
That's what we're standing.
Okay. So go ahead and form your dyad.
Oh, not in front of the camera.
Or not. Okay, is everybody paired up? Let's see. Partner A's, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you'd like to be partner A. All right, thank you. And partner B, raise your hand. Everybody clear which partner they are? All right, again, each person is going to take a turn sharing a victim story. It's going to be a true story, something that happened to you, and you're going to have 2 minutes to do it. And you're going to convince your partner 100%, you're going to convince them 100% that you were a victim. So whatever that means for you, if you want to roll around on the floor and cry and scream and kick and shout, you were a victim. You're going to convince them 100%. Okay? Partner A, you're going to go first. Welcome.
Oh, good. Come
Susie,
here.
Yeah.
I was just filling in. Have a seat,
Hi,
Burgess.
Ray. Welcome. We're doing Victim Accountable, and we're just beginning the dyad. Okay, so Sandra, are you partner A or B? You're partner A. So Ray, you'll be partner B. And here's what we're doing. We're sharing a victim story. It's a true story. It happened to you. You're going to have 2 minutes to share your story with your partner and convince them 100% that you were a victim in this story. Now, partner A, when you share your story, partner B, you're going to remain poker-faced. Who knows what that means? Poker-faced. Like you're not going to let on if they're getting the job done. They're not going to have a clue whether they're convincing you, whether you're getting their victim story, poker-faced. Okay? And the same thing will go when we switch partners. Partner B, you'll be poker-faced when partner A shares. Okay? Everybody clear? Now, remember, you get 2 minutes to share the story. So those of you who like to embellish and go on and on and on and on, get to the point. And those of you who like to tell the little quick Cliff Notes version, you're going to have to expand it a little. Okay, you get 2 minutes. And remember, poker face, okay? It's a true story. It happened to you, and you're convincing your partner 100% that you were a victim in this scenario. Ready? Begin. Remember, partner A, you've got to convince them 100%. And partner B, poker face. Okay, okay. Let's bring that to a close. All right. Now, partner B, if you were convinced 100% that partner A was a victim in their story, please stand. If you were convinced that partner A was a victim in their story, please stand. Wow! Okay. Okay, so you guys are not convincing your partners 100% that you're a victim. You're a victim. You're ML grads. I know, I get it. So you've already evolved. Is that it? Once you learn that you can't go back. Hey, I got news for you. Even as an ML grad, even as a trainer forum grad, even as a trainer intern, there's still moments in my life where I'm like, I feel like a victim. Like somebody did something to me. Like it just happens, even if it's a split moment, and then I can correct myself, but it still happens. So like, get with it, guys. Victim juice, like go for it. All right? All right, so partner B, now it's your turn. Same thing. You're gonna have 2 minutes to tell your victim story, like you were victimized, okay? And convince your partner 100% that you were a victim, okay? It must be a true story and something that happened to you. And partner A, poker face. Don't let on whether they're getting the job done, okay? Ready? Begin.
Some of the breaks
Convince them 100% that you're a victim. You were victimized.
I was in there for 3 weeks.
You were the screwy.
And when I came back, I pretty much sold my TV, my DVD, all the Japanese stores I collected, shit, the Japanese bank account. And like she did to me. And I was angry for a day about it. And I started feeling so screwed. And the next day she called me and apologized for what happened and told me the place to go. For me being a good person. Then I'm angry, you can come back here and stay with me until you find peace. And during the next 2 months, several times she called me again.
Okay, and bring that to a close. You needed more time. You didn't even lose your apartment yet, he says. Okay, so partner A, if you were convinced 100% that your partner B was a victim in their scenario, please stand. All right, who got the job done this time? All right, 2 people. 2 people poured on the victim juice. All right, give your partners a hand. Now, here's what I would like you to do. Stay close to your partner, but turn so that you can see the easel and we can have a discussion. But stay close to your partner. You're going to work with them again. Okay, so who had an experience of being a victim in their story when you were telling it? Did you did much better the first time? You used a different story with your partner? Okay, got it. And how did that make you feel when you were telling your story as a victim? How did it make you feel? Righteous? What else?
A lot of self-pity.
Self-pity. Okay. Anger? Anger, yeah. What about you? How did you feel telling your victim story?
I felt uncomfortable. Another victim story came to my mind now, which I can relate more as a victim, but the story that I used, I couldn't keep reminding myself that it was just something that I made up.
Okay, so you were already using one that you had cleaned off.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha. Okay, so what does it mean to be accountable? What does it mean to be accountable? To take responsibility? Okay, well, we're going to distinguish responsibility from accountable, but I understand what you're saying. Great. What else? What does it mean to be accountable?
To take inventory.
To take inventory
At cause,
at cause. Tell me about that.
like, accountable, like, at cause, so would be, like, I created it.
Yeah, like I created it. Okay, great. What else? Accountable.
I can kind of see what led me there.
I can see what led me there. Okay, great. Well, English is a great language. What do you see in the word accountable? Account and able. So I am able to account for how it happened, right? I own it, I set it up, and I'm able to account for it. I own it, I set it up, and I'm able to account for it. Make sense? Now, what do you notice is the focus of these statements? What's the focus? What's the subject? I. And what about over here in victim? What is the focus? What's the subject? They. So they did it to me over here. Over here, I own it. I created it. I participated in it. I set it up. I'm able to account for it. Like bookkeeping, right? Like accounting, right? Like all of the debits and the credits and all of the line items have to add up, right? If they don't add up, it's not going to balance, right? So when we're talking about being accountable, we're talking about having everything add up. Let's take an example. Let's say, everybody knows Susie back there? Hi, Susie. Susie is also a fellow trainer in training, and I'm going to use you as an example. Let's say Susie and I were in a car accident. Okay, we had a car collision. This is the car collision. Here's Susie, and here's me. Okay? Now, I could say I hit the snooze button once and woke up later, didn't feel like getting up. I hit it again, and I was still tired. I decided to wash my hair this day, so it made me even more later, right? Then I stopped off at Starbucks. I don't usually do that, but I had leisure time. Then I decided it was such a beautiful day that I wanted to go and take the scenic route, and I went by the beach, right? And then I avoided the phone calls that came in, even though they were ringing my phone and I knew it was an emergency, one after another. And then I stopped and I parked illegally. I made this choice and I took this action and I avoided this and I pretended not to know that. And I made all these choices and it led me to, boom, collision with Susie's car. Okay? I'm able to account for it. I took this action, I took that action, I made this choice, I didn't take that action, which is also a choice, right? I avoided this, which is also a choice. I pretended not to know something, which was also a choice. I ignored something, that was also a choice. I had all of this that led me to this point, right? So I can account for this collision, right? Now, Susie, can she be accountable as well for the same incident? Absolutely. Susie can take a look at her life and go, I made this choice, I didn't make this one, I avoided that, I ignored this, I pretended not to know, I made this choice, I took this action, I didn't take this action, I took that action. Boom. So Susie can also be accountable, and I can be accountable. Both people can be accountable, right? Or can I be a victim and say, Susie did it to me, Susie hit me, that bitch, right? Like I can take the victim standpoint and Susie could take the accountable standpoint, or vice versa, right? So what's the difference? What's the difference? So what's the difference with whether I am accountable, whether I'm choosing to, whether I'm accountable or whether I'm a victim? Yeah, and I'm choosing to be accountable or I'm choosing to be a victim, right? Because when I tell my victim story, what do I end up doing? The math doesn't add up. I conveniently get amnesia and I leave this one out when I tell the story. I conveniently don't tell about that one either. This one conveniently drops away and disappears, right? And I tell the story without all of everything that's included in the accountable version because I get to be right about how I'm a victim, right? So when we tell our victim stories, we tend to leave out a lot of what the accounting is. Make sense? Okay. So now what I'm going to have you do is tell a story. You're going to go back into dyads and you're going to tell a story to your partner in an accountable way. So you're going to have everything add up. You're not going to leave anything out. You're going to have it all add up. And guess what story you're going to tell? The same exact story. The one where you were victimized, you're now going to be telling it from an accountable point of view. Again, convincing your partner 100% that you are accountable in this scenario. Okay, you'll have 2 minutes and your partner's going to be poker face. Don't let on if they're getting the job done. Okay, go ahead and form your dyads. Okay. All right. Now, partner A, raise your hand. Partner B, raise your hand. Everybody's clear on which person they are? All right. So you'll have 2 minutes. You're going to convince your partner 100% that you're fully accountable for the very same story you just told as a victim. Okay? You'll have 2 minutes. Partner A, ready, begin. Okay, bring that to a close. Bring that to a close. Okay. Partner B, you can lose your poker face now. Some of you are struggling with the poker face, I see. It's okay. All right, partner B. If partner A convinced you 100% that they were accountable in the same story that they were previously a victim, if they convinced you 100% they were accountable, please stand. Okay. You still got the victim juice on it, girl. All right, great. All right, now, partner B, it's your turn. Partner B, it's your turn. Partner A, poker face. Don't let on if they're getting the job done. Just listen, okay? Partner B, share your story from an accountable point of view. Fully accountable point of view. 2 minutes, ready, begin.
Knew where to get what I wanted. So I talked to her, I knew, actually I just flashed money at her. Let's go. And that was my choice. I was fine. She had the sources. And when I decided to go into rehab, I knew who I was leaving in my apartment. I knew that she was an addict. She had the same thing happened to her. So whatever was necessary to get what she needed. And I knew that was a risk. And I was too under the influence really to weigh those choices adequately. But and then every time she stole from me, I kept her around because I needed what I needed. I wanted more drugs. She had the sources. I would come up with the money. And finally, she knew where I had the rent check put away to pay the landlord. So I lost my job. I let her know where it was. I didn't take out costs. I didn't hide it in a special place. I didn't put anything else in it. I came abroad. So it was my choice, my actions. That created an apartment. She's nice to me. She was doing what she had to do.
Okay, bring that to a close. All right, now, partner A, if partner B convinced you 100% that they were accountable in this scenario, please stand. Wow, okay. So you guys got something going on where you're not convincing each other. I don't know what's going on. You both got the victim juice. All right, give your partner a hand. So now, everybody turn and face back up front, and we're done with your dyad buddies, so you can acknowledge them in any way you see fit. Hugs, handshake, high five. Great. Let's give everybody a hand again. Okay, great. So what did you notice about telling the story from an accountable viewpoint? What did you notice?
Power. Like power has returned because like I made that happen instead of it happened to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. And how did you feel telling your story? The ones that didn't have it happen. How did you feel telling your story? The accountable story. Yeah, what was your experience telling it?
I just felt at peace because I'm at peace with that victim story.
So you were using one that you didn't really have anything on. Although you didn't convince your partner that you were accountable, so maybe there is still something there for you to look at. Yeah? So how many of you think, fault and blame when you hear the word accountable? Like that's all that's in the lawyers, in the courtrooms, in the media, in the newspapers. Everybody's at fault and everybody's at blame. If you hear accountable, that's how the drift usually has it, right? So even calling this an accident, even the term accident is on purpose. The insurance companies do that on purpose because somebody must be at what? Fault, right? Somebody's to blame. There's got to be that lawsuit and there's got to be that investigation and somebody's got to pay, right? The accident, it's not an accident, it was a collision. Like I was saying, Susie could be fully accountable and I could be fully accountable for the same collision, the same event, right? It's just something that happens. It's not necessarily an accident, right? So there's that power of words and suggestion and the connotation that the drift has. And so when we say accountable, Most people go straight to blame, credit, fault, right? And that's not what we're saying. So I want to make that perfectly clear. We're just able to account for something. Like I own it and I set it up, it's me, right? It's all focused on me. Whereas over here in victim, it's outward focused, right? The onus is off of me and onto somebody else. They did it to me. The world did it to me. Right? You know, it's something outside of me. I am not at cause, I am at effect, right? Like Chris was alluding to, the cause and the effect, right? Everybody clear? Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
So earlier when, I think it was when Lisa said responsibility, because when I hear accountable, I say I'm responsible and I'm not responsible. So what makes it different? Because you said you were touch base on that.
Yeah.
So like, because right away I go, I'm not responsible. So like, what is the distinction between the distinction between?
Awesome. You perfect tee up. Perfect question for the perfect time of the training. The distinction responsible is we hold it as distinct in the work of transformation. We hold responsibility as distinct from accountability, right? So if we come over here, where's victimhood? Where is it based in the past? Based in the past. So if I say that's what's so, like that happened, that's what's so, it's based in the past. And if I come here in the present moment, I could say, so what? I'm present and I can make a new choice. And responsibility would be, now what? If it's to be, it's up to me. It's based in the future. I have a choice. I am responsible. I have a choice of how I'm going to be creating it from this point forward, right? That was so, based in the past, present moment, new choice, so what, now what? Then the future responsibility. If it's to be, it's up to me. So we hold accountability as just able to account. We're just putting the ducks in a row. We're just adding things up. We're just looking at all of the different actions and choices that led to the events, right? It's simply an accounting. The responsibility part of it comes in where I am sponsoring something new from this point forward.
So like responsibility is an outcome of accountability.
Well, yes, accountability definitely supports responsibility. Accountability definitely supports responsibility. But could I choose to stand responsible even if I had like brain damage and I couldn't account for it? Like, let's say I had this accident and I can't really think back to like all of my choices and my actions. Like I physiologically just can't do it. Like I don't have that part of my memory, right? So accountability definitely supports being responsible, but it's not contingent. It's not conditional. Responsibility is a stand. Responsibility is a choice to say, I author my life. I am at cause in my life. I am the sponsor of my life. And if it's to be, it's up to me. I get to create it from this point forward. Now, being able to tally it all up and line it all up and see all of the choices and the actions that led to it, that can help me get clarity to make the stand to be responsible, right? I mean, that's huge. It would be significant to be accountable before the responsible, but it's not absolutely required. Does that make sense? Is it clear and distinct? Does anybody have questions about the distinction between accountable and responsible? Okay. All right, so now let's do this. When you told your story from victim's point of view, what is a point of view? It's a perspective. It's the way you see things. It's the filter from which you're operating from, right? It's like if I have, if a human being is a computer, right? Like a computer has all these different software and operating systems downloaded on it, right? And it's based on what's upgraded or what's uploaded inside of the computer system, that's how it's going to run. That's how it's going to behave. That's how it's programmed, right? So if a human being also has perspectives and points of view, and if I've downloaded victim point of view, then that's how I'm going to be seeing the world. That's how I'm going to be operating. That's where my choices are going to be coming from. Make sense? So when I'm in victim perspective or victim point of view, POV, what are the experiences that we have when we're seeing life as a victim? How does life show up to us? What are our experiences when we're being victim or when we're seeing things as a victim, when we're on our operating system is victim? Helpless, judgmental, righteous. What else? We're victim. When things are happening to us, when the cause is outside of us, when I don't have control over something, it's just happening to me. How does that feel for you? Powerless. Like I have a target on my back. Powerless.
We don't write that.
Targeted. Yeah. Anything else? Anybody want to add? The experience of being victim. When I have that running me. Okay, this is my experience. Now, if I come over here and I uploaded the software or the programming or the filters, or I've simply chosen the perspective or the point of view of accountable, then what would be my experience in life? If I've chosen the accountable POV. What's my experience in life then?
In control.
Powerful, in control. Free, absolutely. What else? I'm accountable, I'm at cause, I'm generating my life, it's not happening to me, I am creating it. Peaceful, exciting, inspirational, great. Creative.
New possibilities.
We could go on and on, right? Creative and new possibilities. Okay, anything else that anybody just has to have up here? Competent. Okay. All right, so when I am operating from an accountable point of view, this is my experience. When I am operating from a victim point of view, this is my experience. So why? Why would I choose this over this? Why? Why would any of us choose this point of view over this point of view? Why? You get attention. Yes, absolutely. You get attention. What else do you get?
No one can blame me.
Sympathy, attention, sympathy, be right,
Not take responsibility.
not be responsible, right? What do we call these?
Payoff.
They're payoffs. Like there's the little goodies that we get, right? These are the payoffs. Like there's no way that we would choose this perspective if we weren't getting something like this. We're getting something. We're getting a payoff. We're getting a goodie for choosing this point of view, for living our lives from this mentality, from this perspective. We're getting something. Now, what are the prices that we pay for being a victim? What are some of the prices that we pay? Disconnection, loneliness, incompetence.
Not having a voice. Feeling unworthy.
Yeah,
Lost relationships.
disconnect, lonely, loss of relationships. What was the other thing? Incompetence.
Not having a voice.
Like nobody can count on me, right?
I don't know.
I don't matter. Unworthiness, right? These are the prices that we're paying. And when we can really get honest about these prices and how heavy they are, it's way too expensive. It is just not a good investment to get this. Like really, like look at it from a perspective of like, is it a good investment? Am I getting my money's worth, or am I getting my value? If I'm paying the prices of disconnect, lonely, loss of relationships, incompetence, unworthiness, I don't matter. Like think about the significance of that. What's created in the world when people walk around feeling like they don't matter, feeling disconnected and lonely? Suicide, domestic violence, addictions. Yeah. And if we're honest, are paying these prices worth getting these payoffs? That's the question. Because this is a choice, right? Like, are either one of these the truth? First of all, when you told your story from a victim point of view, and when you told your story from an accountable point of view, are either one of them the truth? What are they? They're interpretations. They're just your story of how it happened, right? And if you're telling the story, you are the author of the story, you are the speaker of the story, you're the creator of the story. Why in the world are we choosing this experience, these prices, over these experiences? I say if we can learn to live from this space, if we can learn to choose from this space and have this be our operating system, the accountable version, the accountable filters, the accountable programming that we operate from, this is how we have extraordinary results. This is how we create magic in our life. This is how the world has innovation and creativity and connection and powerful results and freedom and peace, right? Over here, it's just not possible. It's not possible to have anything over here other than helplessness, judgment, righteousness, powerlessness, and be targeted. Everything's coming at me, right? It's not possible to create extraordinary results operating from this space. Do you have a question? Yes.
So when we're choosing to be accountable, there's really no payoffs or being powerful, free, and peaceful. Those are
These are the payoffs. And guess what the only price is for these? You asked if there was payoffs. These are the payoffs. Guess what the only price is to have this? To give up this. To give up being right about being a victim is the only price you have to pay for choosing this. Now I ask you, is that a good investment? Like, look at it black and white, bottom line. Is that a good investment? So all these little goodies that we're getting over here from operating from this point of view, we pay a hefty price for that. Now, are you welcome to this? Absolutely. Is there anything bad and wrong about this? No. It's a choice. It's a point of view. It's a perspective. Is there anything awesome about this? There is, and it's a choice and it's a point of view, right? Like, let's say on a polar scale, polarity, if we had, if we had one end accountable and the other end victim, it's all on the same scale, it's all on the same line, right? Now, are there people who choose to live way over here and say, I chose my parents, I chose the time and space that I came into this reality, everything that I have in my life, I created it, I chose it before I even came here, I'm fully accountable for all of it. Are there people who live that way? Absolutely. Absolutely there are. Now, are there people who live fully over here? I'm born to the wrong parents. I'm born in the wrong time-space reality. Nothing I do is ever right. Everybody's always out to get me. Are there people who live way over here? Yeah. Now let's be careful though not to have judgment about it, right? Because if we can look at it from a neutral point of view, that's where our power comes from. When we're standing in the present moment, able to be fully at choice, there's a neutrality involved, right? There's a neutrality involved in making a choice that is responsible. If it's to be, it's up to me. If I come into the present moment and I'm still carrying some of my baggage from the past, and I'm still tagged by it, and I'm still charged by it, do you think my neutral choice is going to be possible going forward? Probably not, right? So let's be careful not to judge it as bad and wrong. And then we'll become, yes, exactly, Chris. You're becoming a victim in that very moment of, I can't even choose my future because I still got this stuff, this shackle on my ankle, you know? I'm just like stuck, right? But when we can stand powerfully, like that's what was so what? Now what? If it's to be, it's up to me. Like that so what? It's not callous, it's not flippant. It's not something that is like dismissive of the past. The past is still the past. But when I can say so what with the neutrality and the purity that requires that responsibility requires, that's when I'm free to choose from infinite possibilities. There's a saying that it's never too late to have a happy childhood, right? How many have heard that? It's never too late to have a happy childhood. And what does that mean? That means that I can look back at my past that I maybe perceived as traumatic or tragic or in some way victimized, right? And I can forgive it. Now, what does forgiveness really mean? To give as before, to let go of, to release, to know that the past couldn't have been any other way. It couldn't have been any other way. And just knowing there's nothing really to forgive and being so present in the current moment that I'm able to be accountable and I'm able to say, this is where I'm at right now in this present moment. I am neutral, I am present, I am at full choice, and I'm choosing if it's to be, it's up to me. I am choosing responsibility, I'm choosing to be the author, I'm choosing to drive the bus, I'm choosing to be at cause in my own life. How many of you are up for that? Yeah. So anywhere you guys want to be on this little scale, none of it's bad or wrong. None of it's bad or wrong. It's all a sliding scale of options that we as human beings get to choose from. But I'll tell you, choosing from this limits your possibilities. Choosing from this limits your possibilities. And it's an entirely distinct experience. Are you welcome to have this? If you want to be right about it, are you welcome to have it? Absolutely. Is it the truth? No, it's a point of view. And if you're choosing to live from this, it's a distinct experience full of possibilities. Full of possibilities.
So it's like a filter.
Yeah, it's a place to stand. It's a point of view, a filter. Absolutely. Does anybody have questions about anything that I've covered so far?
Responsibility and accountability, you said, now what, and you point out to responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like two ways that I view responsibility. One of them is kind of being accountable for what has happened, but also in a way with blame that I did it. Like I was responsible for that. Maybe there's not a lot of blame in that, but still pointing out that I was the reason.
So are you a victim of yourself at that point? Are you in beat up?
Right, like that was because of me that I did that. And then
But here's the distinction, Pasha. This is really, really powerful what you're sharing. The distinction being that I can look at it like I'm at cause for it, and that's the ownership. That's the I own it and I set it up, right? That part is there. But then if you're going to beat up about it, or if you're going to judgment about it, or if you're going about, yeah, it wasn't anybody else, but it was me. Damn it, it was me again. You know, like story of my life. If you're going there, it's the same thing. You're just victimizing yourself, right? You're just using yourself as your own victim story rather than being like, I own it, I can account for it, I can neutrally look at it and add it up. I chose this, I took this action, I ignored this, I avoided that, I didn't take that action, I took this action, and here I am.
So responsibility is more about the future. It has nothing to do with the past because it's more of an accountability. Because I also view responsibility as, English is a beautiful language, response able. I'm going to be able to respond to the circumstances or whatever's happening.
So able to respond is one way that we look at responsibility, but it's not how transformation has it. Transformation looks at the root word of responsibility, which is spons, and that means sponsor. So if you want to take, I am the sponsor of my life, that is responsibility, like standing in the place of I sponsor my life, I am a cause in my life, I am the creator of my life, I'm the author, right? But if I'm able to respond, do you remember the growth maintenance chart?
That's exactly
When you're up at the top and you're in the surrender, in the growth place, there's the able to have creative response. So that is a form of responsibility because we come off of automatic. When we come off of automatic, we're able to creatively respond. And that's being responsible because it's where? In the present moment, making a choice without all of that. That's what's so what, now what? If it's to be, it's up to me. The creative response after the moment of awareness going, oh, I want to respond rather than react, that's the responsibility. If it's to be, it's up to me. Make sense? Does that support you? Great, give me my hand. Okay, any other questions before we wrap up the evening? I'm happy to support with anything you're struggling with personally, a victim story, or anything about the distinction?
There's a victim story where I was standing still on the road and I got rear-ended, and not only that it wasn't my car and I had to pay for it, the guy ran away. I can break it down what actions led to that, but there's still something in me that nags me. It's like I shouldn't have to pay for that.
Okay.
So what are the ways of being I can access to let go of that?
Well, I don't know the answer for you, and you get to figure that part out. But what I will tell you is, let's just take an example just out of nowhere, just to play with the tool of learning how to shift from victim to accountable, right? Like some people will say, well, how can a child be responsible, or how can a child be accountable for something bad that happened? Or I don't know, let's say I'm 8 years old and I got beat up in the woods, you know? Can I say, well, who left the house that day? Who decided to go to the woods? Who likes being in the woods? Who didn't run when the bully came at them? Like, there's still all of those things, and not from an at-fault place, and not from a blame place, but from a real accountable version of it. Like, I left the house, I like the woods, I went to the woods, I saw a bad person, I didn't run, I got beat up. So,
I just realized that it was
can you share with us?
I was being right about, not being told that I need to pay for that because it was in my car. And I was being right that shouldn't be that way. And, it happened, and, I'm allowing that.
Okay, great. And so what do you think your little goodie was for that story you were running? It doesn't have to be one of these.
Sympathy and being right.
Sympathy and being right.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is up here. Sympathy and being right. And what was the prices that you pay for being?
Disconnection.
Yeah. And is that what you're choosing to experience in your life? Is that what you're choosing to experience in your life? Yeah. You're choosing to experience disconnection?
No, I know it's a lot.
Uh-huh. So then the opportunity for you, Pasha, is to really get clear on how hefty that price is for you. And when you're ready to release it, you know that it's just a sliding scale, buddy. It's just a sliding scale. You just got to do something to move over a little bit towards the accountable version. So the tool that we taught here tonight is a basic tool that you could apply to any scenario of your life. You could just apply it to any scenario of your life. Take something routine, take something every day, take something simple, and apply the tool and work with it. And then you can move on to the bigger things. I don't eat elephant, but they say eat an elephant one bite at a time. Like, don't take this big traumatic thing that like totally destroyed you and you're still carrying it around and it was big and huge and it's still charged and it's still running your life and try to do it for the first time. It's not going to work. Like, practice on something like, you know, somebody stole my radio out of my car, or somebody took my parking spot at work. You know, like, use it on something more everyday and routine that doesn't have all that charge, and practice the tool. That way you can learn to apply it to the bigger things in your life. Make sense? All right, great. If there's no more questions, I thank you for coming, and I love you all. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Take care. Thank you. I would love feedback. If anybody wants to hit me up on my Facebook with a private message or with some feedback, that would really support me. Please, please, please.
Thank you, thank you.
Stay tuned, thank you.
You guys feel better?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Good night, I appreciate you guys coming. There was nobody here at first, so. Good night.
Yeah.